everyone, and welcome back to the African Diaspora News channel. I'm Rae Kembabazi. So coming out of the UK, there is a lady called Baguma. She was Ugandan and she died recently. She was staying in a place called Glasgow, so she was found in her flat, dead, and then with her 1-year-old baby boy lying next to her body and crying.
Mercy Baguma was desperate, relying on food parcels and the kindness of strangers. Her body was found at the weekend next to her crying baby in a flat in Glasgow.
So Mercy was living a very poor life as an asylum seeker because her right to work while in the UK had expired, and she was still, I think, under the process of getting her asylum, and she had been living off, handouts from friends and some charity organizations. So the reports said she actually died out of starvation, unfortunately, and the baby was crying and very weak from starvation as well. So as soon as the body was found, the baby was rushed to the hospital to get treatment. According to the news as well, Mercy had a boyfriend called Eric, who was Nigerian and who is the father of this baby boy. Good enough, the baby boy is alive and well, and they had been staying together during the lockdown, but shortly after a certain period of time, the boyfriend moved out to go and stay back at his apartment. So it is said that friends of Mercy were very concerned about her, having not heard from her in about 4 days, only to go to her flat. According to some reports, they had the baby crying, and then they went to the flat and they found the mother was dead, unfortunately. So it is a very, very sad story because most people came out to complain that she died because of the asylum system of the UK being very unfriendly, to the extent that she was not allowed to work. So meaning she had no means of earning a living while in the UK. So this is a very, very sad story, and I know it's a very sensitive topic, especially for people who leave their home countries in Africa and go to stay in Europe or America, to have a better life. That's what they call it. So we have seen very, very many of them. I believe very many Africans leave their countries to go to Europe or to go to America, to get a better life, or because they think that those countries are better than their countries back home. Sometimes it is true, especially for people who come from countries that are like torn by war or have had like very many years of war, maybe countries like Somalia, for example. You will find very many Somali people seeking asylum in Europe or in very many countries, maybe America or where. That's like a little bit understandable, if their country hasn't been stable, especially if you have a family and children, you want to give them a better life. But I would say sometimes, because she was a 34-year-old, so she was really young, she was still a youth. I mean, she still had a lot of life to live, and a lot of potential, but she died so early. And I would say, I don't want to judge anyone or judge her, but I would still like to say this, that it is very, very important that African people, learn to appreciate their own countries. I think this thing of Europe is better or America is better should stop, because when you go to these strange countries, everyone minds their business, You don't have friends. I think it's also very difficult to make friends. I believe she had no family member, because I don't think she would have died if she had a relative there. It also means she also didn't have any close friends, who had at least some sort of, a sensible income or a sensible support system to support her. So you are by yourself. Like, it's good to make money. Maybe if she got asylum, she could get residence and maybe earn what they think is a better life. But there are other things that are important in life as well. Because if you stay in a community where you can't feel at home, I should say it like that, if everyone is a stranger, you are in your room for 4 days and no one has come to knock on your door, probably don't even interact with your neighbors or don't know your neighbors, which is different from Uganda here. Because here, if my neighbors never saw me for a day or two, trust me, they'll have called me already like, hey, where are you? Are you okay? Are you good? You know, that's how it is here. So people are more friendly and they care about each other. I believe it's different. So I think Africans should learn appreciating their countries. A country like Uganda is not the best, you know, we do not have the best economy. We do not have the best leaders. Like, we do have issues. But in my personal opinion, I do not find any way to justify a Ugandan seeking an asylum in any country unless you are like a political person and have committed such crimes against the country and the government. But if you are a normal human being, an ordinary layman or laywoman, why would you seek an asylum, you know? Because Uganda as a country, I believe, or I can say, has been peaceful at least for the last, 34 years. Haven't seen war, hasn't seen anything. Like, it's not perfection, but it is a country that you can stay in and feel at home and feel peaceful. So why would any Ugandan, seek asylum in another country? Those would be my thoughts. Like, people in the diaspora, especially in the UK, were complaining about, the British system, the way it works against, asylum seekers. So, in my opinion, I don't think they would ever change their system, because I would assume they're not trying to get more asylum seekers in their country. So there is no way they can make system favorable for foreigners, So that just doesn't work. You can't start arguing, Like, people can try and advocate for it, but I just don't see it happening, So I think it is important that African people, like, love your country, appreciate your country. It's not the worst life here. You won't get any racism here. You won't get an environment where people are going to look at you like you don't matter. Remember, she's an asylum seeker. That's being in a vulnerable place, put in a vulnerable place. No one cares about you, Everyone looks at you like she's a stranger. I mean, she's this African person. So much as people think Europe or America is better, I think there are certain things you can't buy with money. And feeling at home around your people, that you can't buy with money. So you can go there and maybe make, I don't know how many dollars a month or pounds, but those are just my thoughts. I would encourage anyone, like, stay in your African country. You don't have to seek asylum in a different country. It's just, I don't see any reason why a Ugandan would seek an asylum, in any of those countries. Personally, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it is very, very sad that this lady lost her life. It's really sad. She has left a boy who's just a 1-year-old, The family here in Uganda must be very heartbroken, and sometimes what usually happens when people leave Uganda and go to the UK, the general assumption is that they are living a good life. Okay, go to the UK or America or any European country. So even when they are doing so poorly, sometimes they feel ashamed to tell people back home that, what, I'm struggling, send me some money. Sometimes they feel ashamed, because the general assumption is you've gone to this, developed country, so you're likely to have a good job. Even if you don't have such a big job, they'll be paying you a lot of money. But some of them come and struggle. She was living off support, I believe if she had called maybe for some help from back home in Uganda, they could have helped her. They could have sent her maybe $100 and she buys food, for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it's a very sad story, but that is my point. Africans should learn to appreciate their countries and love their countries. Europe or America is not any better. You'll be safe at home. You would never die of starvation here. Like, you can ask your neighbor for food, even though you don't know them, they'll give you food. You can ask your neighbor, you can never die of starvation here. Like, that would never happen, Or you'd never be in a house for 4 days and no one has knocked on your door, and your neighbors have not knocked on your door. That's like crazy, It would never happen. So there are certain things you won't buy with money. Anyways, may she rest in peace. It's very, very sad and very, very unfortunate. But that's what actually happened. And Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel called Hot Stories UG, and also follow me on my Twitter and Instagram at Rae Kembabazi, and see you on the next story. Bye.